Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Star FM Stadium for this second semi-final QBL men's matchup between the Townsville Heat and the Brisbane Capitals. I'm Mark Roble. Joining me tonight in commentary is Shane Frolling. Shane, we've just seen the Flames get up at home to secure their first home grand final in 10 years, I just found out. They'll be hosting the Southern District Spartans next week in the women's grand final, best of three series. The first semi-final down in Mackay, we've got the Meteors leading by 14 at the moment, so they're looking in pretty good position to host whoever wins this game. So a couple of weeks ago, these two teams met on this floor. I was away at that time, and I think you had Mike in commentary with you that night. What did you see out of that night, which you think we might reflect this evening?
Look, to me, it's Brisbane should not be up to the capacity that Townsville has. They shouldn't be able to beat them. Come finals time, different ball game. And, you know, for them to get the win last week in overtime in River City, they certainly bought some. Townsville should be far too deep for Brisbane. What I see is, you know, if Tim Conrad brings something special, if they will need to try some different things, they're going to have to change up their defences. I would expect to see a bit of zone to try and stop the rebounding power, because other than Zach Carter, I don't see the size to deal with Froling, Baker and Big Matty. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they pull up. They certainly can't play the game they played last time, Brisbane, and expect to win this thing.
So talking with Coach Anderson just quickly before, he expects the Caps to possibly come out with some more extended pressure tonight. I think they went to that later in that game against Townsville, when Townsville were up around 20 at one stage, I believe, and then Brisbane worked their way back into it. But the two guys that he singled out were obviously, you know, you already spoke about Tim Conrad as, you know, one of their major guns that they've got to restrict. But he also talked about having to contain Aaron Anderson and keep him out of the seam, which then creates open shots for their shooters.
Look, the other thing Townsville have to be careful of, and you saw it when they played Maroochydore, the Phoenix. They didn't take the guys serious. If they don't take this team serious, it can turn around and bite them on the arse. And they should, again, as I say, be the far more superior team in this game.
So we're 2 minutes away from tip-off here. You know, the Townsville Heat playing in front of a big home crowd tonight. I'm sure that they're hoping the big crowd's going to play an intimidating role against this Brisbane Capitals team. You know, the Capitals, I know, play in front of decent crowds at home, but probably nothing the size that they're encountered when they come up north. So they're hoping that that might rattle them a little bit, and hoping that this crowd gives them that extra leg to try and get home over a Capitals team, which, you know, will come in here confident. They play with a lot of confidence, a Brisbane team. They play that, you know, style that Tarrant's had them playing with Jeff Tarrant for the last couple of years. They're either threes or at the rim. They don't play much of that mid-range game. So we'll see a lot of three-point shots launched by them, and I'm sure we will from the Townsville end as well. So hopefully a far more exciting game than the game we just had with the big blowout to the Flames earlier.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And then, you know, I'm sure they're going to try and change it up a bit. And if I'm the coaches for Brisbane, I'm trying to get some of the key players from Townsville in foul trouble. Now, if you get 2 or 3 fouls on some of their key players early, that changes the game. They got to go to their bench. Even though the Townsville bench is deep, I certainly want to try and draw that.
So we're just getting close to getting underway here. So we'll run through the starting lineups through most of the back end. Baker and Froling will match up against the Brisbane Capitals starters of Anderson, Davis, Wilson, Carter and Conrad.
Again, as a Townsville coach, Conrad is certainly one I want to have focus on. If he gets going, he can drag the whole team with him. So big job defensively on whoever's got him. And the other kid is Ben Wilson. If he comes to life, he can be dangerous. On the flip side, I just don't see how they can guard the starting 5 of Townsville. And And much like last week's team, they said that starting 5, they actually called them, Mick actually called them a NBL squad, but geez, it's not far off one.
So the Capitals come up with first possession after Froling won the tip. And we see straight away the Capitals hard at the rim, but missed layup there by Wilson. Wilshire finds Crawford. Good close out there by Wilson, takes his shot away. Kicks across the wing to Froling. Froling on the floor, starts off the scoring for Townsville with a nice finish at the rim. But asleep in D-trans, the ball kicks straight down the other end, and Carter with the transition layup.
That's unacceptable. The guards have got to be back on safety for that. No fast break buckets like that. And there's Brisbane in that big zone. I have a feeling they're going to try and collapse in and say, hey, beat us from outside, which Townsville are capable of doing.
So Wilshire unsuccessful with his first three-point attempt. The Capitals looking to get on the rim, kick to the corner for Anderson. Nice shot fake, and makes his first three. Caps with the early lead.
Yeah, a lot of people on defence falling for eyebrow fakes in this game early.
But both teams play that energetic defensive style. They'll go and chase and try and block shots. Townsville, nice find. Jett on the weak side of the rim, just uses his strength to power up for the two.
Yeah, and Caps really are going at him early, but I just don't see they can keep this tempo up. Again, shot fakes, too many guys falling for them.
Davis probably unlucky not to get the foul there. I thought Froling came down on top of him. So he did turn around for the refs, looking for the call. Not happy with that, but we'll see. As long as there's consistency in the way that's applied, both teams should be happy. Wilshire working off the high on ball. Finds Crawford in the corner. Nice little dump pass to Baker. At the rim, powers up, makes the two, and one.
And that man is key for this team, the baseline bandit. He is an absolute star come this end of the season. And he's just such a smart player. Be in the right spot, get to the hole, finish strong, and certainly most valuable to this team.
That first foul called on Davis there. And the Heat lead by 2. Transition 100 miles an hour back by the Capitals. Unsuccessful at the rim by Wilson. So the Heat really need to address the D-trans. Big call there.
That is a horrible call. That is a horrible call. That guy was certainly not in position for that.
You see on the replay just shown there, Froling attacking through the elbow. There was no way that was down the seam, and a very lucky call for the Caps there.
And as a coach, that drives you crazy because that puts one of your prime players in foul trouble, which is one of the dangers I said this game could have. But if I'm the Caps, I want to draw on that. I want to keep going at those guys.
So Wilshire just stumbled there at the feet of Anderson. He finds Carter in the corner for 3. Shot's no good, but the Caps come up with the O board through Davis. Conrad, first shot of the game, misses. Sorry, that O ball was from Wilson, my apologies. Baker finds Crawford wide open in the corner. 3 points. The Heat lead by 5. The Heat sitting in his zone here, or definitely packing off. Froling packing right off Wilson there, threatening him to shoot the ball. He doesn't, and Conrad just misses on the dive at the rim.
Yeah, if Harry Froling's going to stand that far off, Wilson's got to stick that shot. There's no one within 10, 12 feet of him.
Tim Conrad picking up an early warning here from the referee.
Yeah, the referee certainly made an issue of that, making sure he knew it early. If Brisbane are going to stay in the zone, we certainly need the likes of Peter Crawford to hit buckets for him.
So Froling with the catch in the low post, kicks it out to Jett. Finds through the seam, finds Baker in the keyway for another basket for the Heat.
This transition stuff's unacceptable. Townsville have got to wake the heck up and stop that happening. Now in that last penetration, not only was Baker open, PC on the opposite wing, so if Townsville are smart, there'll be buckets against this zone.
Carter with that very quick transition basket back at the Heat. Two very different tempos being played here. Crawford found in the corner for three, misses, and the Capitals off and running again.
No one on the boards is a concern for me there.
Anderson pulls up for three, misses, throwing with the defensive board. Kick ahead to Crawford. Kicks out and finds Jet open for three. Three is good, and the Heat lead by 8.
Tip it, if they score another, get a stop here and score another basket, there might be a timeout coming for Brisbane.
So Wilson just being disrespected on the offensive end, Froling standing underneath the keyway. Conrad launching a contested shot there.
And the thing you're going to see for Brisbane is this tempo, have they got the depth on the bench to continue it?
Turnover there by Crawford, just a little loose fumble on the sideline.
And that's a fair call. That was a nice little reach that made him fumble it off his leg there. So crowd's upset, but it's not the wrong call.
Anderson going to Crawford, matched up against Jet in the post. Crawford gets a little hand on the kick out. Carter kicks to Conrad, who finds Davis open, but shot's no good. Wilson just looks to slow down, try and compose for a good shot here. Jet off penetration, finds Wilshire, kicks to Crawford in the corner, which is no good, and Crawford, just another little fumble there. Two turnovers in a row by him.
Peter Crawford, you're a shooter. Shoot that first one.
And the Capitals with substitutions, we see Davis and Kapitkas come into the game.
Peter Crawford with a clean steal up the floor. There's an old man showing some experience because it certainly wasn't super athleticism.
Kapitkas misses on his little floater. And the Heat leading by 10, back in control. Find Baker with a deep seal against Carter. Strong post move, and we see a timeout called by the Brisbane Capitals. Townsville Heat leading 19-7.
Well, Townsville are moving that ball so well. They early, big rebounds, early kicks up the floor is really, really helping them. On the flip side, if they deal with those transition baskets, there's another 4 points you stop by having safety defense. So that's nowhere near good enough, and I'm sure that'll be addressed.
So down in Mackay leading by 11 late in the third quarter, looking to get their hosting rights for the grand final by securing that win over Cairns.
Yeah, I don't see Cairns beating Mackay. Mackay are definitely the premier team in the competition. Even though Cairns have done reasonably well against them this year, it is finals time, and that's when you step up.
So we're seeing two very different games here. The Heat trying to be a little bit more methodical in their half-court offense and looking for Baker inside late on the clock or open shooters early, whereas the Capitals right now are playing a million miles an hour, particularly in transition. You would think Coach Anderson's talking about the D-trans. That's one thing that they're trying to remedy.
Absolutely.
But the Caps need to try and find something out of the second part of their offense right now.
Yeah. And the other thing with Townsville, I'm reminding these guys, keep smashing the boards because you just outsize them so much. And between Baker and Froling, they're owning this game on the boards.
So we're back underway with the Townsville Heat up 12 early in this game.
So we see Brisbane go quite small, and Townsville's answer is to drop straight into a big zone.
The kick to the weak side. Davis put the ball on the floor, picked up Crawford. The foul. Jake Davis, that is.
Crawford surprising everyone with some athleticism, steals and blocks, and he's bringing his A game.
You see Carla coming into the game now for Brisbane and Shudo in for Townsville. Got an 8-second shot clock here for the Caps. Baseline ball.
Okay, so not quite sure what happened there. I think they've told Pete to stand back and give him room, but anyway, Brisbane ball.
Conrad inside at the rim, late in the shot clock, no foul. Jet contested that shot. And Jet launches the three, heavily contested by Kapitkus, but all good for Jet right now.
Yeah, that had to go because, again, no rebounders anywhere in sight.
Conrad a little fumble at the high post. Anderson now explores deep into the zone, finds Conrad circling in behind, no good. And the Heat leading 15. Froling launches the three, rims out, but put back by Jet, launching himself up over the top of the smaller Anderson.
Brisbane in absolutely all sorts of trouble here. It's as we see a three nailed, but they are really going to have to come up with something quick.
Anderson knocks down that three, just trying to settle his team. The Heat just going through their offense, showing patience. Froling now gets penetration and finds a pass to Baker, but Froling now picks up his second foul, second charging foul as he goes through the seam.
Geez, you know what? That's 2 fouls on Froling, and the guy's moving under him. These referees need to review what a charge is. You're taking a premier player out. Yes, here's my son, World, who are listening and watching. But both of those calls are bullshit, and I'd call it if it was against Brisbane too. You cannot have a guy move under you as you make that pass.
Matthew Reese coming into the game now as Froling goes to the bench. Capitals find Anderson on the perimeter. Launches the pull-up jumper. No good, and big board by Reese there. Heat in control of this game in the first quarter. They find Hope at the back of the zone. He misses his first shot. Gets the putback though, finds Baker. There's a foul at the rim. Called on Conrad, and Baker will go to the line for two.
See Hope trying to do a bit of baseline bandit work himself. Unfortunately bobbled the ball, but who's there to clean it up? Baker.
So Carter coming back into the game for Conrad going to the bench here. Only his first foul, so just a rotation sub here. Baker's good with the first. And off with the second, but then a soft foul called on Matthew Reese on the rebounding contest. Little push in the back. And the Capitals will get control of the ball from the baseline.
Geez, I've got to question that one too. That's fairly soft. And all I see at the moment right now is coaches and Brisbane players having a yak at the refs. Maybe it's working for them a little.
Anderson launches the three. No good, up off the supports, and it'll be Heat ball. The Heat. So Wilshire looking to come off the on ball. No good, finds Hope deep in the corner for three. No good. The Capitals off and running now. Move the ball well, finds Carter deep in the corner. Shot short, little deflection by Hope. And Townsville 4-on-2, finds Hope at the rim for two.
That's a great pass by Jordan Jet. Hope running hard at the rim.
And then straight away, the Caps straight back in transition, finding that score at the rim. Jet explores, no good, finds Wilshire at the top of the keyway. Another three for the Heat. And it's an 18-point lead to Townsville.
thought there was a really missed opportunity to throw it into Big Marty there. You know, he's got a whole low side there, so have a look at the big unit.
Ball goes into the post here, kicked out. Kapikis launches the three. Nice shot.
Nice deep three, shoots it from well behind his head so he can't get blocked.
And deep in the first quarter here. Jet launches the three, no good. The Capitals looking to get a little bit of momentum as they've got a couple of stops in the back end of this quarter. Launch the three here. It's no good. Little knockout on the O board by Tudope. It'll be Capitals ball from the baseline.
You see Baker and Jet taking a bit of a break there. A bit of a risk going this skinny early, but it's clearly only a 24-second break to give them in the extra 2 minutes. So hopefully it doesn't hurt Townsville here.
So 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Capitals work it around. Pickus deep in the corner. Throws it across, finds Carter on the wing. Nice attack at the rim, but it's late. Shot clock violation called. So with 7.7 seconds left in the first quarter, Heat will have last possession. Wilshire finds Todd, no good. Turnover by the Heat, and that is quarter time with the Townsville Heat leading the Brisbane Capitals 30-15.
Yeah, Brisbane started in that zone a little bit early, and Townsville shot them out of that thing. So for Townsville's sake, they're hoping they don't go back into that, and if they do, they'll try and shoot out again. I talk about fouls on players. You know, Harry Froling gets 2 charges that are called in the game, whether they're right or wrong. You take him out of the game, and all of a sudden the last few plays other than transition are really messy because Brisbane can crank up their defence with one of the better players off the floor. You take out the gun plays, like the guy that size and with that ability draws plays, opens up lanes. So Brisbane were able to deal with that. Again, 30-15, it's going to be really hard to come back from. They certainly need some people helping them if they're going to compete.
And in Mackay, just to give a quick update from there, with 7 minutes 20 to go, the Meteors lead by 8 over the Cairns Marlins. So Meteors trying to get that win there to try and secure another home final after losing to the Townsville team in the QBL men's final last year. At quarter time here, the stats, we've got Jordan Jet leading scorers for the Heat with 10 points, Baker with 8, Crawford with 5, and for the Brisbane Capitals, Anderson has 6, Carter has 4, and Kapikis has 3 off the bench.
It'll be interesting to see what Brisbane come out in at this, and they've opted to rest Conrad and the import right now, so they're feeling confident in running at them with trying to rest some of their star players.
And look, they'll take a lot of confidence out of the fact that they did play here not long ago and, you know, were down 20 and still managed to drag themselves back into that game. So they certainly will not something, you know, this 15-point early lead, knowing the way this Brisbane program works, it won't be facing them right now. We're back underway in the second quarter. Jet finds Todd underneath the rim. He powers up, makes the shot, and the foul is called. Foul called there on Carla, and Todd will go to the line for the bonus.
Is that about the 50th shot fake we've seen guys leave their feet on?
At both ends, I think, right now.
Far too much. Todd's smart enough to make the bucket with it too.
They extend the Heat lead there. And then foul called on Todd just reaching in at the half court. Silly foul there, that far from the rim. You just need to play your smarts and back off a little bit there.
Yeah, it was a little close to his man, and I was ready to call that from up here before he even made it.
So the Capitals find Carter open for the deep three. Is no good. And the Heat find Froling in transition.
Great
Crawford
skip pass.
kicks to Wilshire, wide open on the weak side for 3.
Great find by Peter Crawford there. Good vision and straight to a shooter.
Capitals needing to start finding an answer to try and trim into this lead. At the rim with a little right-hand hook by Carla's no good. Jet, little fumble, recovered. Finds Wilshire again, open for 3. No good.
Again, lack of rebounders from Townsville. Harry Froling needs to get on those boards. Todd needs to get on those boards.
Nice floater through the lane there by Kapickas.
You better make buckets if you're not going to get on the boards.
And down in Mackay, the Meteors have had their lead trimmed. Marlin's about to shoot their second free throw to tie the game up.
Wow.
Froling finds Crawford for 3, no good. Froling's size goes up for the putback, and he's fouled. Foul called there on Kapickas, and he'll go to the line for 2 shots.
Yeah, a lot of people hanging off him there. He's getting frustrated. He's got to be very, very careful not to get the referees offside. He's already got 2 fouls. He certainly doesn't need a frustration foul here.
And substitutions for the Capitals with Anderson, Wilson and Conrad all coming back into the game.
Now, just going back to that Cairns-Mackay game, wouldn't the Townsville people love Mackay missing out? But I just don't see it. Mackay's got too much depth. You know, yes, they have been troubled by Cairns, but I'm sure they'll steady the ship.
Froling makes the second, and the Heat lead by 20. Couple of minutes into the second quarter. Nice drive, baseline. No good, unfortunately, though, by Davis. And it'll be Heat ball on the baseline. So you see the Capitals pulling back here into what looks like a 3-2 zone. Just trying to find an answer to slow this Heat scoring down, which is at 37 already. Crawford open in the corner for 3 is no good.
I was just going to say that baseline guy who should be Crawford most times.
Nice attack on the rim by Wilson is no good though. The Heat in transition through Jet. Make an answering basket for 2.
Yeah, if they're going to 3-2 him, that baseline shooter should be open on, if not the first pass, it's definitely the reversal.
Steal by the Heat. Wilshire just pokes it in from behind. Baker in transition. Foul called on Wilson, just getting in underneath where Baker was going to land there, not allowing him a space. And we'll see Baker go to the foul line for 2.
This is very quickly turning into what the last game did. And, you know, as we said, this team should not be able to match Townsville. But again, as you know, they come back last time, if Townsville do everything right, they should take care of business.
Baker misses the first. And for Capitals, we see Lamb come into the game for his first minutes tonight. Baker makes the second. And there's that transition game again by the Capitals.
At this stage, if I'm a coach, I'm ready to grab a player and strangle them. That is unacceptable at finals basketball.
Look, credit to the Capitals, though. They've found a way to get scores where they've been struggling, and they're just playing that at 1,000,000 miles an hour in transition. On the other end, Froling goes up and misses the dunk. Yeah, Capitals push it hard again. Conrad makes the 2.
That was a gimme. Should never have missed that one. It's, you know, if he's his old man, he'd lay it up, but then I couldn't dunk it like he could.
And the Heat find Baker at the high post, kicks the Jet, finds Froling on the weak side of the zone for the easy 2.
So for all the young players out there, when someone lifts their eyebrows up, don't jump and take the fake, because that's all it takes out here tonight is lift your eyebrows and people are on the ceiling. Great for driving by and great for getting shots on.
Davis with the 3 for Brisbane. Trims the lead, back under 20. Crawford finds Jet open through Baker at the high post. Jet's three is no good. The Capitals just chipping away at this thing right now. Anderson launching the three. No good, but he gets his own O board. Misses the floater putback. And the zone's just slowed the Heat scoring a little bit, this 3-2. And it's led to those misses, which have given the Capitals some of their running game. Nice pass by Crawford. Finds Baker deep inside for two. And we've got a timeout called by the Brisbane Capitals. Townsville Heat leading 44-24 with 5 minutes 53 to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, great find there with Baker on the baseline. Look, the thing for Brisbane that is hurting them, I think, too, is Conrad's been very, very quiet. So I don't think it's been a superb defensive job by Townsville. I just don't think he's being aggressive. And as your premier player, you definitely want him doing a little bit more too.
So in Mackay, the Meteors leading 89-88 with 3 minutes to go. So for the Heat right now, Shane, you know, they've struggled a little bit with the zone. They found an answer a little bit there, finding Baker inside. Against that 3-2 zone, it should really open up the weak side of the zone for that second big or even the first on the strong side if the Heat can find those big targets.
Yeah, you've definitely got shooters down low. You've got the short corners. And then as that thing shifts, you've got a big hole in the middle. Before it shifts, there's a big hole in the middle as well. So punch in there, get it to reverse to the other side. Should be all over. So we'll see how, knowing Brisbane, I reckon they'll probably even sneak out of that, knowing Townsville have talked about it too. That's what I talked about at the start of the game. They should be junking it up. Now Townsville have talked about that zone, they should go into another one.
So back underway for the Capitals with Davis with the ball. Finds Conrad for probably his most open shot he's had in the game so far, and he knocks down the three.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I need that premier player to get buckets, and he's heard me.
Heat find Crawford deep in the corner, open for three, knocks it down. And the Heat just using a ploy to drag that whole zone up by putting their two bigs up, and then Crawford hiding in that deep corner. The Capitals launch along too. No good, but Conrad, great work on the O glass. And the third foul now called on Harry Froling, which will probably see him come to the bench and Matthew Reese enter the game again.
And that is absolutely a foul. There's no doubt in the world. You know, Conrad went up for it, Harry came across the arms, and he'll earn a seat for this half. Now again, this being his third foul, you talk about the value of those charges earlier, changes the game now because you take a key offensive player out of the picture. You can now sag off those others, sag off other guys. You know, it closes some of the holes.
Conrad makes both, and it's 18-point margin to the Heat. They just extend that zone into a little bit of half-court trap there, Caps, just to take some time out of the clock. They again find Crawford deep in the corner for three, makes another one. And the Caps might need to think about changing that zone up a little bit now.
That's exactly what you want your Olympic shooter to do. Catch and shoot, baby.
The Caps, good attack at the rim. Attacked Crawford there, did Kapikis. Thought he had that matchup and did. Got to the rim for a nice layup. Heat slowing the ball down again here. They find Baker in behind the zone. Kicks it to Crawford, but it's a wild pass.
You know, I'm going to disagree with that call too. Peter Crawford threw it back in bounds before he hit the floor, and it came off the guy's legs, but the referee's blown that early. So, again, Rod has every right to be frustrated with that call if they go back and watch the video. Yes, it was very close, but it was wrong.
And Capitals here looking to get a nice score, but Kapidis just a little pass behind Wilson there, fumbled. The ball went out of bounds. Turnover by the Caps. And we have a timeout called by the Brisbane Capitals, trailing 50-31 with 4 minutes 21 to go in this second quarter. In Mackay, Looking at the quick feed on Live Sports Feed, and we have the Marlins leading by 2 with 1:23 to go.
Wow. Townsville will take that. Townsville will take that. Looking at this timeout, for me, strategically, this is just a rest break for Brisbane, you know. They know they're skinny on the bench. It's, you know, go through a bit of the strategy. They've junked a few things up. Have a rest. Let's get into the last half of this quarter with more energy and see if we can chip the lead away. Townsville on the flip side, they want to address that press, and with some of that early transition stuff they were doing, if they can get that going again, that'll kill any press that's thrown at them and will result in layups. So heads up, kick ahead, see if you can get on the rim early.
Well, the Caps need to find a way to stop the Heat scoring. You know, like 31 isn't bad. Like they're on track for a 70 to 80 point game themselves right now. But with the Heat with 50 points, with still 4 minutes 21 to go in the second quarter, they've just got to find a way to get some stops. So they extend their pressure now and get into some full court trap. And then as Jet catches it just over halfway, foul's called on Conrad. Again, just didn't quite allow him enough space to land. When you're behind a play, you've just got to give that little bit more of a buffer.
Yeah, and came across his arms, but that's a really dangerous pass. You're throwing that thing in the middle with 3 defenders around you. That thing should have gone across the court and down the side because that's what was open.
So that's the 4th foul for the Capitals this quarter, which is also a concern for them. Crawford launches a 3. No good, but Baker, massive work on the O board. Gets the putback.
Baker is a beast tonight. He has come game ready, and it's much needed too. He is cleaning up.
Anderson finds Conrad, goes to work down in the block against Jet. Nice little right-hand hook.
Baker's the sort of player, if you're an NBL program with a deep hole, low-budget spot for an import, he could get away with it as long as he does what he does in this league, fills certain spots, because he's certainly not the best outside shooter, but geez, he works and he's a great teammate.
The Capitals at the other end after Baker's layup find Davis open for 3, no good, but great work from Conrad on the glass. Gets the putback, and Conrad single-handedly trying to keep his team in it right now. The Heat just slowing down. The Caps now changed to a 2-3 zone. They've pulled out of that 3-2. Leave Wilshire open on the weak side of the zone this time, and he knocks down the 3.
Caps are doing everything right. They're changing things up. They're not letting the Heat get comfortable, but Heat have brought their shooting game as well, which is what you need against those sorts of zones.
Carter launches a 3 at the other end. It's no good. And it'll be Heat ball. Baseline here. Heat leading 22 with 2 minutes 41 to go. Quick check in Mackay. The Marlins leading by 4 with 38 seconds left on the clock.
Geez, there could be some unhappy people down there. You know, the great commentator Cameron Tregar will be very, very upset about that. And, he's got a lot to be upset about. I think I've beaten him in one-on-one a couple of times, so that's always traumatising. He might have another traumatic night tonight.
So we're back underway here. Heat ball, just a little kick violation there. Called on Anderson. It'll be the Heat ball from the sideline. So yeah, down in Mackay, timeout with 37 seconds to go. Marlins leading by 4, and it's a Meteors ball. The Heat working with some rotation against this zone.
Oh!
Wilshire finds Jet on the weak side for the alley-oop dunk.
And that's a play they've run a lot, so it's not unexpected, but didn't Jordan go up with some force on that? It was one of those, uh-oh, look out, boom, and nothing was going to stop that. If you put a hand in there, your arm was going to get snapped in half.
And foul called there on Matthew Reese, just a little reach in down the other end, called for the block. Caps ball here, Anderson finds Carter. Slowing the ball down. Anderson finds Conrad deep in the block. Nice little turnaround fade from the short corner, but it's no good. The Heat end up coming up with the board after an O-board miss as well.
Big Matty Reese setting a screen to ring a bell. Taps it out to Keegan. Now wind it down, get another set.
So Tudehope gets the ball to Reese. Finds Jets. Shot clock's down to 4. Wilshire launches a long 3. It's good. And the Heat have 62 before half-time.
Mate, the Townsville bench is so excited they're jumping around, tripping over each other. Someone's going to get injured on that bench.
Down the other end, we've got the launch 3 by Carla's no good. Caps do get the O board though. And shot clock's at 6-5. Anderson launches a 3 from the corner. It's good. And heading into the last minute here, the Heat with a commanding lead over the Caps. Moving the ball well, just shifting this zone, and then Crawford, pull-up jumper at the elbow for 2. Anderson attacks Crawford's closeout, no good. Carter then launches the 3, picks up the foul on Tudehope, got him out up in the air and heads up play. Launched that shot while he was coming into him. Missed the shot, but will go to the foul line now for 3 shots.
See, for me, Carter, all I've seen Carter do is shoot 3s tonight, you know, and he gets a foul. Now, I'd like to see more out of him, a bit of inside-outside, and it puts him in a better rebounding position too. So, nonetheless, he's here shooting 3, but I really cannot fault Brisbane too much tonight. They're trying different things. They definitely know they're undermanned. They can't match them for strength. They're trying different things. Yeah, you might get out of some of that zone stuff, the 1-2-2 zone they're playing a bit earlier, but their energy's up. They're pushing hard. They're trying different things. If they didn't try anything, you just say they've rolled over and died, and they haven't done that.
And Carter was good with the first 2, but misses the last. And 2 possessions left here in this first half. Jet attack at the rim is no good, short off the rim.
Yeah, he
Capitals now with their transition game.
He probably could have dished that off to Big Marty, who was wide open, but Jet saw the bucket.
Carter knocks down a 3, and the Capitals have a strong last minute here just to drag the score back. It's at 21. With 12 seconds to go, this will be last shot in this half for the Heat. Wilshire launches the 3. It's no good. O-board and turnover there, so nothing doing. The Heat lead 64-43 at halftime in this second semi-final. The big news, however, right now is down in Mackay, where inside the last 14 seconds, the Cairns Marlins are leading by 3 and have foul shots.
And down here, the referees found a foul right on half-time. So Keegan Tudehope's going to walk to the foul line and shoot a couple. The half-time score clock has actually started, so they're going to have to reset the clock.
They've put 2 seconds back on the clock.
And this should be buckets for Keegan. All right, so it is a 5th team foul. Keegan is going to shoot 2 shots, and there'll be 2 seconds left to go. Now, hopefully, Wilshire is aware of the long full-court pass for a fast break here.
They've been very good at that, the Caps. You wouldn't say 2 seconds is too little. Tudehope misses a second and takes away that opportunity. Launch long shot by Brandon Davis is no good. So at halftime, it's 64-43. In Mackay, the Marlins lead by 2 with 5 seconds left on the clock, and it's a timeout.
Look, I think I've talked about Brisbane's efforts. I can commend them on it. I think they're trying as hard as they can. They got a lot of work to do. Townsville, Baker is brilliant. Jets brought the game. You know, Wilshire's having a quiet one, but other people are picking up for them.
Well, we're talking about the Caps are 43 points right now. So they're on track for 83. They're on track to score a thing, but the Heat have just shot the ball fantastically so far. The Caps, all faith is not lost for them. They could come into this game. If the Heat start missing some shots and the Caps get that transition game going and then go and get those easy layups, get this thing back into single digits, anything could happen.
Absolutely, and Townsville are shooting the shit out of it. But before we do hang up, hopefully we get the end of this Cairns and Meteors game, and there's 5 seconds to go. Meteors are on the court. Cairns are taking their time. It's 98-96. So we'll just let you know. We'll hang on for another, what we hope is 5 seconds. It'll probably end up being 2 minutes. And we'll let you know who wins that game. Cairns run an old play curling off, and Meteors foul immediately, putting them to the foul line, wasting only 2 seconds. So 3 seconds ago, Cairns have 2 shots and they lead by 2.
For those who don't want to listen to just our commentary of it, you can tune into the Basketball Queensland YouTube channel and see this last possession or so down in Mackay.
Now, can he make both buckets on the foul line? First one is good. They are up by 3. Now, do you miss this with 2 seconds to go and make him throw a prayer up? Yes, he does miss. And Mackay have to do something. The clock should be gone. It's a half-court prayer. And Cairns have won the game. Good night, Mackay. Cameron Tregar will be in fits. Sorry to hear about that. But Cairns will now meet Townsville. And Townsville, I believe, will host the game.
We don't know they're going to meet Townsville. They will meet the winner of this game. Townsville is obviously in the box position right now, but the winner of this game will then take on the Cairns Marlins now in the grand final. And because of the way the ladders worked and everything in the QBL, whoever wins this game will play host to that grand final, with Cairns coming from 6th place, with the Heat finishing in 2nd during the regular season, and with the Capitals finishing in 5th. So the winner of this game hosts the QBL men's grand final next week.
Okay, so tapping on wood and knocking on my head and all sorts of things. Cairns will play in Townsville next week.
All right, we'll take a halftime break now with the Townsville Heat leading this second semi-final. More on the line now for these two teams, with whoever wins this game now getting hosting rights for the QBL men's grand final next week. Welcome back to Star FM Stadium here in Townsville. At half-time, the Townsville Heat lead the Brisbane Capitals 64-43. I'm Mark Roble. Joining me in commentary tonight, Shane Frolling. Shane, we talked a lot at half-time about the Capitals still are well and truly in this game. They've just got to hang around a little bit, but they've got to find a way to get defensive stops. Any thought process on how they might do that right now, or just relying on the Heat shooting to go a little bit cold?
That's exactly what they have to rely on. You know, Townsville have been shooting the heck out of it, and they can't do much more. When teams are shooting like that, you've got to change things up, and they've had no answer at any way on that level.
So at half-time, just to give you some stats on that, the Heat are shooting at 62%. And 42% from the three-point line. So that's what gives you 64 points. And opposed to that, the Capitals are down at 35% and 33% from the three-point line. Yeah,
and again, sometimes poor defense definitely cranks your shooting up, but Townsville have been red hot tonight. And their ball movement has been pretty well superb. So as long as they keep that up, they should be all right.
So just looking at some of those halftime stats for the Heat, you've got 4 players already in double-digit scoring. Baker leading with 15, Jett with 14, Crawford with 13, and Wilshire with 12. While for the Capitals, Conrad's put the team on his back a little bit, and he's got 11, but it's been a crucial 11 points, and they've dictated some of that scoring in the second quarter when they needed to get going. Anderson with 9, Carter with 9, and Kapickas off the bench with 7 points.
Yeah, Conrad certainly answered the call, because I don't know if he had many in the first quarter. So for him to get 11 all up, he's certainly come to play. For Townsville, geez, if Baker can have the start he had, he can take care of this on his own. The things they need to be careful of now, Townsville, is becoming selfish. They got to keep that team game going, and that running it down Brisbane's throat certainly hurt them.
So as we talked about just before halftime or during halftime, Cairns pulling off another upset after getting the upset against Logan last week. They've now upset Mackay and Mackay. So Cairns now through to the grand final. And this game, which was already big as far as being able to go through to the QBL grand final, became even bigger because the winner of this game will host the QBL grand final series next weekend.
I bet our fans in Brisbane are chomping at the bit.
And we're underway again here with the Capitals' first possession. Anderson looking to attack the mismatch against Frolling. Good penetration. Penetration again by Davis. Finds Conrad. Conrad missing the 3 though. Now talking with Coach Anderson briefly at half-time, he's just looking to try and keep composed on the offensive end, keep moving the ball like they were in the first half. But their main focus was trying to make sure that they don't leak out those transition points they did a little bit in the first half. Conrad open for 3, misses again. Townsville dodged 2 bullets early there.
And that shot Crawford took before is a perfect shot. You know, he's not going to make them all, but he's the man who wants shooting them.
Frolling spins baseline and then wild pass looking for Crawford on the weak side.
Yeah, that was out of control. That was never going anywhere but the 15th row. So he's got to be a little smarter with that. You know, he's been sitting for a while. He's got to get himself warm and back into the game.
The Capitals ball here trailing by 21. Conrad again looking to get to the rim this time. Finds Wilson on the weak side for a nice little layup. Took advantage of that hard closeout after launching the last 2 threes and just put the ball on the floor.
Brisbane really applying some good man pressure here, you know. I'm going to take that statement back that I made at half-time saying that Townsville have got this, because I clearly may moz them. Brisbane are every chance, and I'm not just saying that.
Wilshire launches the 3, but it was contested and hand on it. Unsuccessful, and now the Capitals.
That's
Anderson.
Great D, and if they've called 2 other charges, that had to be nothing but a charge.
So Anderson looked to put that on the floor. Wilshire just picked he was going right, got in the right position, and drew the charge there.
Townsville really need a bucket here to start breaking this thing open. Otherwise, you start to get doubts, and Brisbane start to get more confident.
So we talked about the fact in the pre-game, Shane, that the Caps trailed by 20 last time they were here and got it back to single digits. So I'm sure that in that halftime talk, they were still talking very confidently right now.
Absolutely.
Froling the Heat nearly recovered it, but it did turn into a turnover. Capitals in transition through Davis, make a layup, and the lead is back.
This full court pressure's bothering them, and they need to pass through that pressure rather than dribble through it, because that's where their mistake's going to be made.
So the Capitals really have revved up the defensive intensity here and climbed up into the lanes. Crawford launches a contested three with Wilson in his grill.
I think a timeout may be required here just to settle everyone down and talk about this pressure up the floor.
Capitals looking to continue to make a run into this margin. Carter launches a contested three. Baker couldn't do much more than that, and there is that timeout from Coach Rod Anderson. The Brisbane Capitals up and about right now, trim the lead to 14 and have all the momentum in the first couple of minutes of this third quarter.
As much as I give Carter a hard time shooting nothing but threes, he's nailing them, and when it works for you, it works for you. As a coach, I'd love to see him play a bit of an inside game, but right now, all the dominance that the Heat had in the first half has flipped on them, and they're a little bit quiet, so wake up time.
So you'd imagine the Heat are just talking about their, dealing with this pressure the Caps have applied now, whether we're going to see some more on-ball screens or, some backcourt screens even to release some of that pressure. And for the Capitals, you just think, well, hey, guys, they've called this time out because they can't handle our pressure. Let's turn it up another notch again.
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't, I'd expect that they might even change something up instead of dropping back into whatever they were going to drop back in, because we don't know, as it's been so successful up the floor, they may change it.
So coming out of this timeout now, the lead the Heat enjoyed at half-time has been cut back by 7 already in this third quarter. Heat yet to score since half-time. And the pressure continues from the Capitals, with Davis applying all sorts of pressure on Wilshire. You see the Heat now catching the ball so far outside the three-point line. Under pressure, another turnover. And the Capitals in transition, another basket through Anderson.
Listen, Townsville cannot continue to dribble through that pressure. They need to move the ball, get these guys at a disadvantage by having to close out. This is better movement.
So we see the on-ball screen there. Leads to Crawford, pull-up jumper. It's no good. The Capitals off and running again. Pickus rotates out, finds Carter open for another three. Misses.
Run on him now, run. See, Townsville slowing down, plays right into their hands.
And Froling kicks back out to Wilshire. They're trying to find Baker on the block.
That's a foul all day, every day, but it doesn't go Townsville's way.
Stripped by Anderson. Nice hezzy move on Froling at the high post. And another layup, and it's back to 10 points. The Brisbane Capitals starting off this quarter with an 11-0 run. And perhaps the Heat need to look at some substitutions right now. Instead, they've already used a timeout. Just something to throw the balance of this game. Crawford
really
launches the three, and it's good.
Yeah, good find by Harry to Peter Crawford, and Peter will be open out there, so that certainly helps. The other thing that's worked for them so well has been Baker on the baseline through the whole game, and it's just not getting past the foul line.
And Davis gets to the line there through earning a foul shot. Crawford thought he'd got it clean, but I think a body foul was called. So Davis will now go to the foul line. And this game just turned up another notch with this run from the Capitals.
And I think you see Harry Frolling's been brought out there after that blow-by the guard. They're going, well, let's get defensive. Let's put Matt Reese in there. So he's a big body and he can move his feet quite well, and we'll see what happens, whether that works.
So first free throw is good for Davis. Converts on the second, and it's back to an 11-point game.
The energy from Brisbane's great. Now there's that kick over the top. Now we've got to run it down their throat. The troops should be up the floor, move this thing, find the shooter who's wide open on the weak side. Peter's got to be ready to catch and shoot that.
Now turnover by Crawford, picked off by Davis. Now in transition, Conrad launches a three. It misses.
If I'm throwing that skip pass to Peter Crawford, I want him to shoot that.
Now Wilshire trying to slow the tempo a little bit, gets deep into the seam. Good D by Wilson, contest, but Baker gets the O-board. No good on the putback. Capitals ball.
The hot streak is certainly finished for Townsville.
Anderson with the pull-up too. And the lead is back below 10. We talked about at halftime, this game certainly wasn't over, and it has come out that way in this third quarter. Crawford looking to find Jett on the weak side of the zones, no good, but it falls in Matty Reese's lap, and he makes the two.
And that's the usefulness of Big Marty, you know, it takes up such a presence, good board, great putback.
Conrad v. Baker at the top of the keyway. The blocking foul's called on Baker.
Yeah, that's, you know, you call that one. It's maybe a little soft, but definitely got him with the hips. We see Baker go for a rest now, and you know, it's interesting. I don't know if I'd be taking him out right now. He's been such a beast for the whole game.
So the Townsville Heat looking like they're in a 1-3-1 zone right now. Leads to an open shot in the corner by Anderson. He knocks it down.
It's that end of the court. The people shooting on that end of the court are getting open buckets.
That rim's been the lucky end. We see Crawford now launch an answering three from the other end.
Well,
and the Townsville crowd tries to get this Heat team moving again.
Exactly what you need from your shooter.
So the Capitals moving that zone nicely and finding Anderson open again. The way they're shooting right now, I'm not sure a zone's the answer for the Heat.
No. That rim down that end must be as big as a hula hoop.
Now the Heat taking a bit of time out of the clock here. Jett attacks and finds Wilshire in the corner. Extra pass to Frolling on the weak side for three. He makes a three. In this game, both teams starting to catch fire a little bit.
Got to be very aware on the weak side here of the guard. He's wide open.
So Capitals pump it inside. No good by Kayla there. You saw Jett just paying a little bit extra attention to where Anderson was down in that corner on the weak side.
Townsville have really been forced up high out of their offense here. Need to get it back down in that low area, exactly where it is now.
Frolling makes the catch on the block, but no good at the rim. Capitals come back with the ball.
That's got to be a charge. If we've had three of those called, that's every bit of a charge as any other one.
So we've got play on here. The Capitals shot clock down to 10, leads to Davis launching a big wide three. The Heat, instead of just grabbing the ball, try and be a little bit too pretty, and Jett throws it into Frolling's face, I think.
Yeah, he should have probably grabbed that, but Harry's got to have his hands ready, so we won't blame anyone on that one. And Brisbane will have the ball. And Anderson's given it to his teammates, so he's just as fired up.
Well, he's feeling it right now, and he hasn't touched the ball the last couple of possessions, so he's got well within his rights to be giving it to his teammates.
Townsville just have to weather this storm. They have to make sure they don't get caught up in any rubbish.
Capitals find it underneath. Carla gets the little two around the rim.
And the big thing for Townsville, they've got to stay tight. If they start to crumble around each other, that's going to hurt them too.
So it's a 9-point lead to the Heat. They find Jet at the backside of the zone, and he muscles up, makes the basket.
They really need a couple of stops here, so Townsville's defense has to really pick up. And as you said, I don't know if this zone is the right thing to be in.
I think they look like they've gone back to a man now, and Wilshire's wearing Anderson tight away from the ball, so whether it's a box and one or something a little bit different. Heat now trying to take advantage of the Cap zone. Frolling no good. And it'll be Cap's ball, I think, from the baseline here. No fouls called on the Caps, so it'll be Heat ball from the baseline.
Yeah, Harry Frolling forcing that up there and getting a little frustrated. He's just got to calm down, not get into the refs. I think I saw one of the refs warn him there. And he's just got to take it as it comes.
Just forcing a little bit, got to let the game come to him.
Absolutely. And again, you've seen with good ball movement, we've got some good open looks.
So ball in here for the Heat.
And Baker back in, which is highly important.
Frolling double team, but finds Baker on the weak side. Nice little shot fake. Leads to the pull-up jumper, but it's no good.
And this is exactly what Brisbane want. You know, gamble on missing some shots. But again, how does that transition stuff happen? That's unacceptable in this game.
Well, two things that's happened all game. Transition and shot fake, getting some people up in the air. And we're inside the last minute of the third quarter. The Heat's lead trimmed down to 7 points. Foul called there by Onkapikas up guarding Frolling heavily in the front court.
Again, frustration leading in for these Townsville players. They have to keep their heads and fight through this.
Frolling gets the catch in the low block, double team, finds Baker. And the
How
shot
there
is
is no
unsuccessful.
call on that. That contact is so heavy, that should be 2 shots.
And
Down the other end, we get a charge.
No,
Wow.
Offensive foul called.
That's a makeup. That's a makeup for the miss down this end every day of the week.
That's a hold on the clear out. So he's called the foul on Carla for basically hooking the defensive player and taking his opportunity away from being able to contest. So emotions starting to get a little bit high here in Townsville. A lot on the line with the winner of this game hosting the QBL Men's Grand Final next weekend.
Oh, you can see exactly why Baker gets frustrated. You know, he goes up and gets absolutely hammered with no call there. It's unacceptable.
And now we see another offense. Oh, hang on, the refs are conferring here. I think the baseline ref had a foul on the Capitals and the middle ref had a foul on Frolling for an elbow on a clear out.
And you can see Harry's getting sucked in. These guys are playing. He's got to be very smart here.
So the foul's called on the Capitals. They've called that as the first foul, and Frollings was retaliating to the hold.
It was definitely retaliation. So again, he's got to be smart. Very lucky the one referee called it, but that's what they want. You might see, what have we got here? 2 shots. 2 shots he's going to need to make sure of this, but you can bet.
And now we've got a tech foul called on the Capitals to exacerbate it. Tim Conrad continued to go at the referee about the situation, and the young referee Napa called a tech foul on Conrad. So now the Heat will have 2 foul shots for Frolling for the first foul, then an extra for the technical and the ball back at halfway.
Look, I'm not a fan of that because you've got 2 players who are into it. The foul could have gone either way, and you make a call. Now, one way or another, one of the teams is going to feel they've been wronged. Then you compound it with a technical foul.
The only thing I'd say in the ref's defence is the technical foul did come a long time after the initial fouls were called. So whether there was a warning and a warning to stop, and he continued to go, but we're not down there on the court, so we can't tell what the communication was. Froling missed both free throws.
Clearly rattled at the moment. Clearly rattled. Needs to be better than that, and it's a part of the experience building.
So Wilshire now steps up for the technical free throw. He makes that. The Heat up by 8 with 11 seconds to go in the third quarter. Heat ball from halfway.
Brisbane not backing off, great ball pressure, and Jordan Jet's got to be well aware of this shot clock. Bigs get in on the boards. There's a valuable bucket by Baker. He has been MVP of this game by far. He was a little quiet that quarter, but again, he's riding on the back. The team's riding on his back right now. We've got a 10-point lead, and it is anyone's game.
So at three-quarter time, the Townsville Heat lead 80-70. Again, we reinforce, Marlins got the upset in Mackay earlier tonight. So winner of this game will host the three-game grand final series for the QBL men next week. In the women's department, the Townsville Flames took care of business at home tonight against the Rockhampton Cyclones, and they'll take on the Brisbane Spartans, or Southern District Spartans, whatever sort of memory you come from down there, at home next week in a three-game series. So if the Heat manage to hold on here, Townsville basketball will host both grand final series, which will be a massive thing for the Townsville Basketball Association. After a successful week already, Shane, with Townsville Basketball announced as the host of the Under-18 National Championships, Basketball Australia National Championships next year.
Yeah, look, Townsville basketball has had a long reputation of being very, very strong, and it's just great to see the amount of Australian players. You know, you got Mitch Norton in the senior team, you got Alex Fowler in junior teams, coaches like yourself, young kids representing states, going to Australian camps, and this place is basketball, so it's great to see them rewarded with things like Australian championships.
So with a quarter to go here, the Heat lead 80-70. Quick check on the stats. Peter Crawford leading the scorers for Townsville with 19, Baker 17, Jet 16, and for the Capitals, Anderson with 21 with a massive third quarter there. Conrad with 13 and Carter with 12. It will be Heat ball to start off this fourth quarter.
And you would expect Anderson and Conrad to be shooting the lights out of it again this quarter. So if you haven't focused on those two blokes, you have not done your job right.
And Carter, when he comes into the game as well, will be the other big target, you'd imagine.
Absolutely. Now, over-dribbling this is a real worry. It's got to come out.
So Baker triple teamed in the low block there, finds Wilshire on the kick out, but it's no good.
That ball's got to move more for my liking. Over-dribbling's going to kill you.
And at the other end, Kapickas launches the long two. It's no good, but on the kick out from the O board, Anderson shoots an air ball, and it's Heat ball.
Yeah, it's unusual to see him shoot one that bad, but there was a long hand coming at him.
Yeah, Baker was on a hard closeout and just obviously got into his vision a little bit.
Don't you love the pressure that Brisbane have put on these guys? They're really up the floor. There's energy in this team.
Wilshire with the step back three. It's no good. Davis got a piece of that.
Now, even then, the referee called three. Wilshire's foot was clearly on the line. So if you're Brisbane, you're going, hang on a minute. Make sure you got that stuff right.
Conrad misses with his pull-up jumper. And now the Heat through Froling at the top. Misses the open jumper. Now, it hasn't been Froling's night so far.
You know, I love that Keegan's in there and his job's defensive, but if you're going to have him on the weak side as the shooter, that's probably the wrong guy to have on the weak side.
Now Carla launches the three and it's good. And the Heat lead trimmed to 7. Jet looking at Froling inside but doesn't go there. Now we're down in a short shot clock, 5 seconds left. Jet through the seam. Jude Hope with the late three as the shot clock expires is no good. And then the Heat boys wrestle over the ball. fumbles out of bounds, and it's Capital's ball.
Yeah, Harry Frolling's clearly having a bit of a rattler today. His hand's not ready. Something's happened at half time, and he's got to fight through that.
Now Carter comes back into the game. Conrad's getting, I would imagine, a short rest here just to get his breath back and ready to come in for a last salvo at this thing.
Yeah, and for me, Peter Crawford's our leading scorer. I want him back in there. I definitely want him back in there.
So Carla looks to go one-on-one against Frolling. Right-hand hook is no good. The Heat just a little bit loose here. They're not handling this pressure, this extended pressure, very well at all. Jet gets through the seam, and then there's a double foul called here by referee Mill.
Who's this? Okay.
Called on Harry Frolling and called on Jake Davis.
All right, and that's exactly what I talked about. These guys getting into it and him having composure. So you'll see Harry come out here and have a break, and probably rightly so. Rees will come in and try and steady the ship.
So Frolling was trying to roll down off the screen, and Davis was just in underneath him, and obviously a bit of pushing and shoving going on. The referee saw enough of it and didn't want to pin it on one person in particular. That sends Frolling to the bench with 4 fouls, but considering his contribution so far tonight, the Heat might be better off, playing with other players in there right now.
Yeah, his head's not right in it at the moment, so worth having a break. But that's where those 2 charges really hurt a player like that. The referees dictated that early, and that shouldn't happen.
So Jet makes a catch on the short shot clock, but no good from the elbow.
And Brisbane right now getting exactly what they want. Beat us from outside, and they're not hitting shots. Great D by Baker there. The blessing for Townsville is they're missing a couple. So Townsville have to convert down the other end. And this walking it up is not what's going to get it done.
Yeah, the tempo certainly hasn't worked, this slowed down tempo. They need to just lift the intensity a little bit. Now we see a turnover by Jet. Kapikas up in his space, and he didn't handle that at all well. And now it's Caps ball. They trail by 7 with 6:56 to go, and Crawford coming back into the game now while Jet gets a blow.
I expect Conrad has got to be close to coming back in too. And as I say that, here he comes.
Conrad coming back in, and Carla takes his seat on the bench.
Carlin gave good minutes out there, so no slouch, nothing to be sneezed at, but you can bet Conrad's ready.
Just a little bit of cleaning up going on the floor right now after Jet went down with that turnover. The Caps boys doing their bit on the floor, on the towels, on the brooms.
Townsville definitely tightening up a little bit here. Need to crank up the defense, gentlemen. Now again, we talked earlier about the job Brisbane did with changing things up and harassing, and you could see they were never giving up, and now it's paying off.
So Capitals ball here. Find Davis in the corner.
Really spreading the floor, trying to create something. Big Matty stays solid, which is good, but here comes a base drive. That's a big foul. Probably a good foul, to be honest, because that was going to be a layup.
Well, it was short shot clock, so there was only a couple of seconds left on it.
Yeah, the way that ball went, that was going to be a bucket, so nice solid bump. Might make you think twice about coming in there.
So from the Capitals, the last couple of possessions, you've seen Wilson's answer to the non-guarding out on the perimeter. He's just gone a million miles an hour at the rim, hoping to get a finish over somebody. And then the Caps are crashing hard from the weak side, which has worked out semi-successfully for them. Scoring has stagnated a little bit here for the last couple of minutes. Conrad looks to go to work against the smaller Tudor. Reese has to come and help.
That's great D by Reese. You see how he kept his arms up big and strong, because Conrad needs two guys guarding him. This is better ball movement. Now find Baker down low. No, we'll take Peter, but Peter, if you're going to do that, shoot the first one.
Crawford launches a three, it's no good. And now Baker's called for the over-the-back foul.
I can wear that, yeah. The guy definitely had possession, so as much as the crowd dislikes it, I can absolutely wear that. Again, Peter Crawford taking the catch, fake drive, step back. I'd rather him catch the first three or get on the rim if he's going to bounce it.
So 6 minutes to go. Heat by 7.
It's been an ugly quarter of basketball offensively from both teams.
So the free-willed scoring that we've enjoyed in the first three quarters has slowed right down here. Carter launches the three, heavily contested by Baker, but they get the O board, the Capitals. Conrad no good with the putback.
Probably got fouled there, so every right to be upset. So have the referees put the whistles away. That's where I want the ball, but Baker, you got to finish that, son, and finally the referees have called a foul.
So Baker on the putback, foul called there by Carter on the arm, and Baker will go to the line for two.
And you know, Conrad, the first thing he'll be saying is, what about the other end? And
he was pointing there straight away.
Rightly so.
Now Jet comes back in for Tudehope.
Now, the problem with Baker is his percentage from the foul line. He really needs to hit both, but I'll hold my breath. Oh, didn't work.
First one misses.
I'm going to stop holding my breath because I might not live.
Makes the second. The first score we've seen in a while. And that's the first points for the Heat in the fourth quarter.
Brisbane really spreading the floor well here, trying to look for penetration, dump opportunities just like that. And Townsville mess up with too many players guarding one man.
Well, Reese came over on the first rotation, but Jet just didn't come down on the second one, paying too much attention to Carter, led to that open layup.
Brisbane really pushing Townsville out high. Move the ball. There you go. Big Marty is open on a seal if they look at that. Wilshire has two screens, but the defense is up to it. There's the seal I'm talking about.
Finds Reese and he converts. And we now have a timeout called by the Brisbane Capitals. The Townsville Heat leading 83-75 with 4 minutes 42 to go.
And again, looking at the consistency of the timeouts, this is a rest timeout. This is, hey, you guys are working your ass off. You're doing a good job. Let's have a rest. Continue what you're doing. Gather yourself. We've still got a couple of timeouts left. Townsville on the other side, they have to get that ball down below that free throw line and into the bigs. There's too much dribble and wasting time up the top. Get it down into the paint, get it to Baker, get it to Marty, get the buckets happening.
Yeah, they need to get the ball into the wing areas a little bit more. At the moment, it's all up in the seams, and it's all on the dribble right now. If they can get the ball into the wing and try and suck that Brisbane Capitals D down a little bit deeper, then it'll open up other areas. Whereas for the Capitals, they've just got to continue trying to attack the rim now. Like you've seen, the Heat have struggled on that second rotation off penetration. So if I'm Tarrant right now, I'm talking to them about getting hard on the rim and making sure that you're slipping into good receiver spots on the weak side.
Absolutely, absolutely. And on the offensive side, these big guys that are on the court are great at sealing up high. Lob straight over the top is going to result in easy buckets, especially Baker.
So 4 minutes 42 to go. The Heat lead by 8. Each team has 2 timeouts left, and neither team in foul trouble yet. We've got a foul count of 3-2. We should be in for a cracking last 4.5 minutes here.
And Harry Froling back on the floor. You're certainly aware that he's got 4 fouls, so you'll be going after him, I would think.
Anderson left open for three, knocks it down.
You cannot let that happen.
The Heat just miscommunication there on the wing. Led to two men at Davis and Anderson wide open. Wilshire attacks, gets deep into the seam, misses the shot though.
Yeah, he's got to make that one. But it's where we want the ball, below the foul line. So it's a good move. It was just an unfortunate miss.
Conrad in the block against Crawford. Crawford called for the foul on the entry pass.
Geez, that's an early call there.
That's only the second foul on Crawford, but the fourth foul called on the Heat in this quarter. Next foul will be penalty situation for the Capitals.
Starting to get an edgy feeling on the game here. These boys have really got to pick the defense up or they're in trouble.
Conrad picks up in the corner. Davis launches the three. It's off and big rebound by Jet.
So just walking it up. Jet should be exploding up the sideline right now.
So the refs just stopped the Townsville players asking to wipe the ball, a bit of sweat on it.
When teams are pressuring you like this, you can't allow them to get into it. If you've got an opportunity to jet that thing up the floor, go. Get them on the back foot as quickly as possible. And transition is what killed them in the first half.
Heat ball here with Jet with the ball on the wing, closely guarded by Anderson.
Jet didn't even have a look at Baker then, so I'd love to see him do
Froling double teamed in the low block, turns the ball over again, and it's the Capitals' ball.
He's trying to do too much. It's a silly move. That's definitely out off him. He needs to move the ball instead of just spinning blindly.
But the Heat also should be using him as a bit of a decoy right now, pass faking to him and making the D jump in to open up other players.
And he needs to kick that out to them, absolutely.
Davis with the layup, and it's a three-point game. Heat lead by 3 with 3 minutes 14 to go. And the Heat's offense has just gone so quiet in this second half after just being so dynamite in the first half. Froling is open in the corner for 3. It misses. And the Caps with the opportunity to tie the game up on this possession. Conrad launches over Baker. It's no good.
Get it and go. Get it and go. Get up the floor. Push. Get on the rim. Thank you.
Now I thought it was a turnover by the Heat.
That's a tough call. If I have a video review, I'd go straight to that.
So I just tried to see a replay there. Look,
I don't know why Jordan passed that. He had a lane to the rim. He's got to get on the rim.
So 17 seconds on the shot clock here for the Heat.
The other thing we've overlooked is Wilshire hasn't had his normal points tonight. So,
wow, forcing a pass to Froling there. Another turnover. The Capitals, ball with Davis, looking to attack Jet. Gets Carter open in the corner. Heat dodged the bullet there. And again, just this slow tempo. I don't know why the Heat.
It's horrible.
They're playing into Brisbane's hands right now.
No one on the boards. Fadeaway shot. You've got a big guy out the back of the court. You've got the other one in the short corner. That's not what we want.
So Capitals look to attack. Blocked by Froling.
Go, run, push. Wilshire, your game is to push.
So 1:36 to go. Townsville Heat leading by 3. Wilshire dribbling the air out of the ball right now. Baker finds Crawford at the kick out. It's no good though. And the Capitals come up with the ball.
This is a vital time right now.
Carter on the rim in transition. Nice pass by Anderson, and we've got a timeout called by the Townsville Heat. Leading now by only 1 with 1:14 to go on the clock.
And this is absolute credit to that Brisbane team. They have worked their asses off, and Townsville have just frozen up. Absolutely frozen up.
Let's look at that. So the Townsville Heat in the first quarter, 30 points. In the second quarter, 34 points. And then the Capitals have come out and turned up the Heat. on the Heat, and they've held them to 16 in the third and only 3 points in the fourth quarter at the moment.
It's again, credit to Brisbane. They've done a great job. Now, on the flip side, now, Wilshire's not getting the buckets he usually gets. And I talk about him distributing the ball, but I also talk about him being a 20-point player. So we need some more out of him. And he had that nice open up, misses. The fact that Harry's not getting the buckets he usually gets, what's been our strong point? Baker. Are we finding him? No. He's been so good, they sent a triple team to him the last time. Surely you've got to look at going him again, and I'm sure he'll find the open man.
So we come out of this timeout. Heat advance the ball. Minute 14 to go. They're up by 1. Heat with 1 timeout left. The Capitals with 2.
Now, do you think we've addressed the transition situation of Brisbane? There's got to be safety defence.
You would think so, but we will see as this last minute 12 plays out. And Wilshire ISO against Conrad at the top. They find Crawford off the kick out from the weak side. Frolling with the O board. And he's fouled on the second attempt at the putback. He'll go to the foul line.
And you know what? That's, again, not a bad foul. You don't give him an easy bucket, but Conrad's gone boom. And he missed the last 2 free throws.
He did. He missed the last 2 free throws, and he certainly hasn't been feeling it tonight. So definitely a worthwhile foul for the Caps there to put the pressure right on Frolling inside this last minute.
Well, that's the NBL experience of Conrad going, no, you're going to earn these, son.
So we're talking 3 possessions left after this shot, after these free throws by Frolling. 2 timeouts left for the Caps. Are you calling a timeout after these, Shane, or waiting 1 more possession?
Yeah, you probably use your timeout. It depends what happens down the other end. You've got to assess it as what happens down the other end. Do you make both? Do you?
So if he makes both of these and they're up by 3?
If you're Caps, I'm probably going to use it.
So first one's good by Frolling.
Well, they've been playing free and loose, so maybe you let
misses the second, but
that's bounced.
The ball is off the Caps' leg, and it is Heat ball. Fresh shot clock.
Jeez, that was luck. That's pure luck. Baker attempted to go at it, and Brisbane bounced it out of bounds.
Well, they've only given him 14 on the shot clock here. I would have thought that was a full reset, but
it's all right. They got lucky to get the ball, and now we can't get it in.
So almost a turnover off the inbound pass there. Now Wilshire.
Now we don't want to get caught into wasting a lot of time here. Harry needs to move the ball. He
turnover
does to the
by
wrong
Frollo.
person.
So middle pick there was good by Carter. The turnover by the Capitals.
Heads up, Harry.
Now the Heat need to get this thing up and just control now. Wilshire gets the ball, and so we're inside the last 30 seconds now. The Heat up by 2.
Yeah, this is the time you want control.
Wilshire one-on-one against Davis. Davis to the ground.
Baker with a big tap. Get it out of the hands. Move it. Hot potato. Move that thing. Baker says, no, I'll take the 2. 12 seconds ago, Baker makes it. He has a free throw. Now, this isn't over, trust me. We saw it against the Phoenix. Baker is not the greatest foul shooter in the world. I really hope he makes it, but it is not over. The other thing is that hurts Brisbane as Conrad goes out with that being his 5th foul.
So Conrad fouls out of the game. 12 seconds to go. Baker will now go to the foul line with the Heat up 4. To be honest, Baker's form at the foul line might not be a bad thing for the Heat right now, because if he misses this, the Caps don't get the opportunity to call a timeout. He's now called the timeout before the free throws, trying to ice Baker and make him think about this. So Coach Tarrant's obviously aware of Baker's form from the foul line and thought, well, I might not get the opportunity to have this chat, so I need to chat about what we're going to do either out of the make or the miss here.
Look, Townsville are extremely lucky. They've had 2 bobbles out of bounds go their way. Brisbane can hold their head up high, and as I said, 12 seconds. We saw the Phoenix you can score buckets in 12 seconds. So if Townsville aren't ready for it, if they go to sleep, if they let the team roll it up from halfway, if they do the little things wrong, it can bite them on the arse.
So the Heat look like they're staying with their starting lineup, so not throwing in anybody to get on the glass or go on defensive work here. The Heat look like they've got coming into the game, they'll have Anderson, Carter, Davis, Wilson and Kapickas coming in.
I need someone absolutely all up in Anderson's jock. Someone needs to be all over him like a rash. And that's not dismissing Carter and Kapickas either. Kapickas looking at the bench with a wry smile, so looks like there could be something drawn up for him out of this.
So Baker for the bonus free throw, makes it. And the Heat on the run through Wilson. He looks just to attack a million miles an hour. Blocked by Froling. Big defensive possession and then foul called by on Davis.
Yeah, you see them celebrating there. That's courageous to go for that block with 4 fouls. Could it have gone the other way? Absolutely, but it worked for him. And now after having an ordinary half, he's getting accolades.
So they're adding a couple of seconds to the clock here because the score bench was a little late on it. They're asking for 6.2 to be put back on the clock. At the moment it's sitting at 4.1. Jet with 2 free throws here. The Heat leading by 5. And if he makes both of these, you would have to think that that is game. He's good on the first. And makes the second. And we have the last timeout called by the Brisbane Capitals. Townsville Heat lead 89-82. 6.2 seconds left on the clock, and the Townsville Heat are very close right now to securing the home grand final and a home double for Townsville to go along with the Flames grand final.
Look, the Heat, definitely the first half, pat yourselves on the back. Second half, and it's been a little spectre there hiding, hasn't it? It's happened against Brisbane last time they played them. It's happened against the Phoenix. The second half, you've got to deal with that pressure. And if you think Cairns won't be watching this later, you're kidding yourself. So go away, work on it. Stop the slow walk it up dribble game. Punch it up the floor, punish it and get it to where you've been hurting them.
So Heat need to be careful, make sure they don't foul before this ball comes in here and draw an unsportsmanlike foul. They don't. They let Wilson look to go on an attack. Carter with the open 3, knocks it down. And timeout now called by the Townsville Heat, leading by 4 with 2.2 seconds left on the clock. So smart decision by the Heat there, you would think, just to let that possession play out however it did. Because the worst case, they hit a 3 and it was a 4-point game and they lost a couple of seconds out of the clock.
And the thing I worry about here is when we throw it in, the person goes, I want to get foul shots, and they just hold it. If I get it in, I want to have a secondary screen, getting another person open, I can get it.
You've only got the 2.2 seconds here, so they just the only hope here for the Caps is really a steal and then a brain fart by the Heat giving an unsportsmanlike foul. That's the only way, really, that the Capitals can win this game.
Well, the other way is to get it in quick and launch it in the air, so it wastes 2.2 seconds. So they just have to be careful not to play for, I want foul shots.
They just got to make sure the pass goes at the rim here. You don't want to pass backwards and then allow that opportunity for a steal to get the Caps going at their own rim.
It doesn't even have to be a shot when you catch it. Get it up in the air. Waste 2.2 seconds.
So ball's in here, foul's called. Froling will go to the foul line with 0.8 of a second left on the clock. And the Townsville Heat will go on and win this game and secure the home grand final for the QBL. So
Yeah.
next week's grand final looks like you will see in the women's grand final a battle of the North versus the South, with Townsville Flames taking on the Southern Districts or Brisbane Spartans. And in the men's grand final, both series, best of 3 series, all here in Townsville. Book your tickets now if you want to get up here. Will be the Townsville Heat taking on the Cairns Marlins in what some people might call the mini reptile rumble now that we don't have any crocodiles anymore.
Absolutely. And first thing I've got to say to everyone is that Brisbane team put up a battle. That team needs to be patted on the back. The coaching staff did exactly what we talked about at the start, changed the defence up. Not one of those players quit, and it was a great game to watch. So a little bit of luck Townsville way at the end, worked, and well done Terrence and Brisbane.
So
I can rest easy now, saying the curse didn't work at half time. And thank you, Brisbane people, for listening.
you tried your best, Shane, but the Townsville Heat end up winning this second semi-final 90-85. Leading scorer for Townsville was Baker with 21. Crawford had 19 and Jet 18. And for the Brisbane Capitals, Anderson was just dynamite in the second half, finishing with 24 points. Carter with 17 and Conrad with 13. So for the second year in a row, the Townsville Heat make the grand final. Last year they travelled to Mackay. This year they'll play at home to the Cairns Marlins.
And I'll bet you there's a big relief on Greg Vanderjack. I'll bet you for the last quarter he was sitting there. He won't have any fingernails left. He would have got that big sorry ass 7-foot head down chewing his toenails. But he now can relax.
So thank you, Shane, for joining us on the stream tonight. Next week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Townsville Flames, Southern Districts, Townsville Heat, Cairns Marlins in your QBL Grand Finals for 2018. We'll speak to you then.